My name is Matt Cartwright, and I knew Cody about as well as I've known anyone. It was the first time in my life that I had a friendship that I was able to give and receive support the way I had with Cody. One of my favorite memories of Cody was 3 years ago at boot camp, where we had taken a couple of canoes out on the Nueces River, and we were able to share our testimonies and honestly open up where we were on our spiritual journey. In that conversation, I believe that Cody had shared things with me that he had never told a soul. Cody carried a confidence and charisma that gave him the ability to walk up to anyone and pray with them over anything. Cody had a boldness that I wish I had. He was fearless. Cody and I were working together and putting in some long hours. And I pulled into the shop each morning around 5:30 a.m. and he always made it a point to beat me to the office. Cody had the ability to light up a room even on the toughest of days. So I knew when I pulled in the parking lot and I saw his truck, I knew it was going to be a good day. Fast forward 4 months after boot camp, it was his birthday, and I knew he hadn't been feeling well. So I didn't think much of him taking the vacation day. Later that day, his sister had delivered a cake to the office. So I shot him a text asking if I could deliver that cake on my way home. And it wasn't until later that evening I was home with my family eating dinner, and I realized I'd never heard back from him. And I realized I never took him that cake. The following morning, I pulled in the parking lot, and first thing I noticed that I did not see his truck. And I knew it was a pit in my stomach that I instantly knew something was not right. I walked in the office, grabbed another buddy, and we drove to Cody's house, found his truck in the driveway, lights on, heard the dogs barking, but we could not get inside of his house. I finally got a hold of his mother, and she drove over to his house and found Cody in his garage where he had taken his own life. I sat out in his driveway with just a flood of emotions and just over and over in my head asking myself, why didn't he share this with me? With everything that he told me, everything that he shared, why not this? I kept replaying in my head like a record player for the next several months, why didn't I take that cake to him? If I would that have made a difference? Would that have been able to help him? All I could think about was this was my fault. I should have been a better friend. I should have listened better. And if I had, would this have looked different? 8 months later at boot camp, sitting around a campfire with a handful of guys that I just met, the conversation was fairly light, talking about relational type stuff, addictions and that type of stuff. And to be honest, I felt out of place. It was a stirring inside me that I knew I needed to share, but honestly, I just simply did not know how. As the conversation was wrapping up for the evening, Andy leaned over and said, "You've been quiet. What's on your mind?" Somehow, I was able to articulate what I had been walking through the past 8 months. The guilt, the anger, and the lies that the enemy was feeding me, resulting in the wounds that I had. Again, I was thinking the conversation was coming to an end that evening, but God had other plans. That night, someone else in the group opened up, admitting that he had been battling the same suicidal thoughts. We were able to pray over him and walk with him throughout the weekend, helping him step into freedom. I truly believe God used me that night, helping someone that was fighting the same battles that Cody had faced. The enemy was trying to take one man's wounds and place those wounds on me. But God used the fire team and others to draw that guilt and shame out of me that I was carrying. It wasn't my fault. I couldn't have prevented it. Cody carried things that he simply was unwilling to share. Wounds cannot be healed in the dark. They must be brought to the light. Jesus showed me that I am not responsible for another man's wounds. I am only accountable for what I do with my own. Bring your wounds to the light. I never want anyone to carry the weight I carried through Cody's death. Jesus carried it all. There is not a hurt too big for him. Our only job is to bring it to the light.